You've probably heard this. Performance deals are a red flag. My partners have earned in excess of $19 million in revenue from performance-based deals I've done with them. And I've personally earned 1.52 million US dollars in royalties so far. No retainer, no salary, just results. And I'll cross the 2 million this year. So why do these deals work when so many people say they don't? Hey, I'm James Schramko. In this episode 1122 of the James Schramko podcast, I'm unpacking a few insights from what I've learned about rev share deals and performance-only deals. I'm going to cover how I started, why I think they work, the most common myths, and how I've helped a few others set up their own, and what it really takes to make them last. If you're a consultant, coach, or advisor, and you've ever wondered how to create aligned long-term income without charging retainers, this one's for you. And you might think, why wouldn't I just charge a retainer? Well, not all prospects will be able to pay a retainer. And also, if you have a retainer plus performance, you're likely to reduce the lifetime of that client. Not having retainers is the secret to having a 10-year revenue share deal. But let's go back to where it began. This isn't a new concept for me, and I'll bet it's not a new concept for you when you think about how broadly this is applied. So back in 1989, I was fortunate enough to work for my grandfather. He was a timber broker, and every single deal he helped close earned him a 3% cut. And that was it. I thought, what a small percentage. That doesn't seem like much. There was no hourly billing, no retainers, just clear outcomes. Every project he got 3%. Fast forward a few years, I came across Jay Abraham and I learned all about his stuff. One of the things he talked about was royalties, and he brought it from the copywriting world. This is in the early 90s. 10 years later, I was asking him, what advice would you have? And he said, do more royalty deals. So I realized, hey, this model isn't just for the timber industry or for copywriting. It has applications beyond that. I know it works for law firms, music industry, publishing of books. I've got a book and I get a royalty from that. If you have a book, you probably get a royalty too. You may already be in this business, but just not the part that pays as well as you could possibly get paid. So perhaps it could apply to advisory. I thought maybe I could lend my frameworks and skills and IP and contacts to others to help them. And that's where it got really interesting. From about 1995 to 2001, as a salesperson and sales manager, I was living on performance deals. Like if I didn't close, I didn't get paid more than a measly base. I mean, it was called appearance money for a reason. It literally was just so that you show up. And that environment taught me two things: back yourself and choose wisely. So when I shifted into mentoring and business advisory, I kept the same mentality: back yourself and choose wisely. And in the last decade, I've structured dozens of performance-based deals with me, with my clients. Now, 6 of those are still active. 4 of them were bought out and 4 I stepped away from. And I've earned 1.52 million US dollars to date, and I'll cross over the 2 million mark shortly. Those partnerships have created over 19 million in revenue for my partners. So it's not an inconsequential impact that we've had from being able to do these deals. Now that I'm helping other people put them together, they're starting to experience what can come from them. And they're building their own rev share deals, creating freedom and wealth without the need to invoice by the hour or set up retainer deals that are often on a limited runway. Plus, if they're like me, they probably want to actually live a life, drop kids off to school, go surfing, not be chained to a necktie in some office doing big bro marketing stuff. So let's talk about some of the misconceptions, because I think there's a lot of ignorance out there. Some really smart people say some really dumb things about rev share deals and performance-based deals. The big one is they say it's a red flag. Well, I'd say only if you don't know how to filter. I mean, that is literally the most important thing. They say top consultants don't do rev shares. Well, plenty do. I mean, Jay Abraham, I'd call him a top consultant, and I'm pretty sure he's made many millions from that. So you don't just hear about it because maybe people are just busy getting paid. People like me fly pretty under the radar, but there are people out there doing these deals. I interviewed 5 or 6 people when I was interested in putting together the paperwork for one. Lawyers don't do this is a misconception. Well, a lot of them work on no win, no fee basis. It's actually a very common situation when the client can't afford to pay the lawyer. They'll end up doing a deal where invariably they pay a little bit more in fees, but only if there's a success. And that's a little bit akin to rev share deals. You can actually make a lot more from a client or a partner than you might have made if they were fully funded and prepared to take all the risks themselves. So in terms of the red flag, that they're not prepared to take a risk, well, you get paid a fee, a premium for that. Some of my royalty deals are in excess of 10,000 per month, yet my mentoring fee is 1,800 per month. So you can get paid multiples of a regular client because you're going deeper and you're doing more and you're building equity value. There is an exit buyout. So that is also a component that kind of sits below the iceberg. And once you understand this, it can completely change the dynamic. What it means is you're probably missing out on a small fortune if you offhand dismiss royalty deals altogether. There's also a misconception that all relationships where there's no risk and everyone and someone else takes the risk fail. That's just not the case. There's lots of examples where it works, like the music industry. Even venture capital, the people who took early bets on investing in companies that were complete startups that ended up paying big, got a big payout for their risk. And the people who were the startups could not have done it without someone else helping them. And that's an important point. On that, there is this idea that mentors can't control the results, like it's all on the partner. And, if the partner doesn't do it, they got no skin in the game, then they're not going to succeed. Well, that's wrong again. I've helped shape offers, pricing, hiring, team structure. I mean, if you're in the right seat, you absolutely influence the outcome. I would only choose a partner where I can create a greater sum, where I'm a performance enhancer, where I maximize and leverage what my partner brings to the table so we both win. That is absolutely important. I want to be the force multiplier. Yes, we're only as good as the partner's product or service, but you can absolutely shape, aim, point, and share that to the market. And because we're aligned, then we both have skin in the game. They want to succeed. It's not like they want everything done for them. They are earning it, and they evolve, I evolve, we both get paid. So why I think this model works when it works, and it doesn't always work, but when it works really well. And if you look at the stats, like if you are a really early VC investor, you'd be looking for 1 or 2 deals in 100 to actually pay out, but they pay out big. If you're a bank or an investment firm or an M&A person, you're probably looking for like a 20% of your deals to work out really well. So far for me, it's been almost 2/3 of my deals have worked out. And of them, a third of them have paid out. The rest of them are still going and pumping away like a little oil well. So when I partner, I'm bringing my clarity, experience, and frameworks and focus and connections to the partner, and they're bringing their product, their service, their hiring, their team, all their skills to the market, and they're doing a business that I wouldn't want to directly do. So we're not competing. And I only partner when I trust somebody, and that is like the single biggest filter. I say no more than I say yes. Yeah, sure, I get approached. It doesn't mean every prospect that comes to you, cap in hand, you should say, oh, absolutely, yes. I mean, that's idiotic to think that. Of course, you're going to have filters. But I would suggest even a top tier coach would have filters for who they work with. They wouldn't just work with anybody. And then I structure things in a way that rewards us both long term. So these deals really let founders move forward because it's their business, it's their ego, it's their drive, it's their baby, and I'm just assisting. So rather than do a 50-50 deal or be business partners with convoluted tax documents and company setups, which is how I started way back and they didn't work out, they just move forward so simply. I don't have to invest any cash capital. I don't have any liability. So it's very low risk for me compared to other ways to do business. And you'll quickly find out who wants the results and who needs to tune up or who needs to be dropped. As I said, I've let some of my deals go where I didn't think it was moving forward in the way that I would have liked or that it could have. And I learned from that and I tuned my filter for the next round. And I haven't taken on many partnerships in the last few years because the first ones are going so well and I don't want to overcommit. So here's what makes performance deals work. You've got to trust them. You must be able to move the needle. There's no point signing up a partner who you can't help. Of course, so you have to be good at what you do. And that applies even if you're doing retainers, right? Don't do it if you find the owner is in absolute chaos, has no team or a really bad team or unclear goals or bad data or bad habits. Avoid. That is a red flag. Get full visibility, like define the scope, lock it in writing, set boundaries and exit options before you go into it. I'll never go into a rev share deal without a contract, and let them prove they're a good bet. They will more or less audition to be a partner, and usually I'll promote them as an affiliate before I take them on as a rev share partner. That way I know there's already value created. They know there's value created. They're confident in it. If you do it wrong, yes, it's painful. Done right, it's powerful. It's way more leverage than a straight up retainer deal. And you don't always have to have a retainer. That's another misconception. Absolutely not. A retainer is a way to build resentment, and eventually they're trying to squeeze that out and reduce that cost. But the performance is always justified by the fact that you're only earning where you create value. And this model is not for everyone. But if you do have the skill, the judgment, and the ability to create real results, then you can actually build lasting wealth by backing the right people, as I've been experiencing over the last 10 years. It's now contributing about half my income, and it's how I've helped my partners generate over $19 million in revenue. And my cut's been significant. And it's how several of my mentees are now doing it. So the performance deals are good if you know how to work it. So don't just out of hand dismiss them or think it's not an option for you, but it's not something I would try and do yourself. Before I went into it, I interviewed 6 or 7 people who do that type of business. I got a whole heap of documentation from Jay Abraham. I remembered back to what my grandfather taught me and how his business model worked from 1989. And now I've been helping others. So I've actually built the contracts. I've coached a lot of people through this process. They're now collecting revenue. If that's something you want to do, you want some help with, then of course I have experience with it. You're welcome to join Connect or Mentor, and let's get rolling with it.
This is James Schramko.